Hi, Hiram here. Lately I've been asked if I do anything else besides burn things up. Am I just a pyromaniac or what? So I thought today, for a change of pace, maybe what I do is show you my EDC / survival kit. What I usually carried last summer was this, a pouch that was fastened to my knife that I use. But last year I had a couple of instances where the knife wasn't welcome, places I had to go to, so I took the knife off and then my EDC went with it. So I thought I'd better change to something else that just hooks to my belt, that I could keep with me all the time as long as I had my pants on. And I guess about a month or so ago I saw a video put out by STIXSURVIVAL channel where he did a Maxpedition H1 Waistpack survival kit, and I thought this looked like a good container for what I wanted. Turned out to be a little small. The only reference I had was his hands compared to mine, and I guess mine are a little bigger. But anyway, I bought one of these on eBay and I transferred stuff over to it. Now, I live by a couple of axioms, and they influenced what I put in here. One of the axioms that I live by is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I really believe in backups. Instead of buying $300 knife, I buy more cheaper ones so that I can have multiple of them. Not crap, not garbage, but just cheaper knives. Things like that. The other axiom I live by is what they call the rules of 3. For those of you that don't know what it is, I'll put it up on the screen here. And the rules of 3 for outdoor survival go: you can survive for 3 seconds without optimism, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Now let's take the first one, 3 seconds without optimism. In other words, don't give in to fear or panic. The proper frame of mind is like, you need that for survival situations. Your brain and your ability not to panic is like your most important survival tools. If you don't have that, you might as well just hang it up. 3 minutes without air. Now, unless we're going out into space, about the only place where that comes into effect is you got to know how to swim. When I went in the service, I was so surprised at the number of people, the number of Marines that didn't know how to swim. And they knew it in the service. So we had a course, I don't know if they still do, but we had a course then called drown proofing, where they taught us how not to drown. And the final test was you had to have your full gear on and a rifle, and you jumped into a pool and had to drown proof for over a half hour. I succeeded, so it's stuck with me ever since. So anyway, learning how to swim and take care of yourself in the water is important. 3 hours without shelter. To me, this means you got to make sure you can provide yourself with good shelter to protect yourself from cold and rain in this area. The shelter that you make has to be just large enough for you to get in it, not some big Taj Mahal or big castle or anything, just something small enough for you to keep you warm and out of the rain. Now, for those of you that live in a desert area, it's kind of the opposite. You have to make yourself some sort of shelter to protect you from the sun and the heat. So your kit has to, reflect that. 3 days without water. Now, this is kind of dodgy, I think. You may be able to go for 3 days without water, but I think within about 12, 14 hours, half a day or so, you're going to start feeling the effects of being without water. You really need water to survive. Luckily, in this area where I live, there's creeks and streams all over the place, so it's just a matter of carrying the equipment, the ability to purify the water so that I can drink it. But even if worst comes to worst, if you're in a survival situation, don't not drink the water. I mean, don't kill yourself while water's setting there. And the last one is 3 weeks without food. Now, a lot of people with their survival kits seem to make their priority the food, which in my mind is really the least important of all the threes that are up there. You know, your stomach may be growling from hunger, but your body can last a whole lot longer without food. But you need water, and you need shelter first, and you need water. So only worry about food once you've taken care of the other needs, the shelter and water. Then you worry about food, if ever. Again, in this area, there's lots of stuff out there that you can eat. I live in Pennsylvania, lots of stuff around here to eat, so you got to know what's in your area. Just recently, just the other day, we had a thing in the news where a lady named Margaret Page, I think it was, lasted for almost a month in New Mexico, out hiking around with her cat, and she survived by drinking water from the stream. I don't know if she cleaned it or anything, but she just drank the water and survived without food. She had lost weight, 20-some pounds or so, but she had survived without food. So, the 3 weeks without food, worrying about food first off is not something that you have to hit. So anyway, that's the two axioms I live by. Now, this pack, it's the Maxpedition H1 Waistpack, or Maxpedition H1 Waistpack. I'll leave a link down below to STIXSURVIVAL's channel so you can see what he did with his. This has two compartments in it. The main compartment is 6 by 4 by 2. I wish it was just a little bit bigger, but this still holds a lot of stuff. And it has a side pouch on it that's 5 inches by 1.5 by 1 inches deep. Now, like STIXSURVIVAL did, there's a pouch on this side, a pencil pouch, had stitching down through the side. I took that out to make one large pouch in there to use. This is much more, I mean, I need stuff that I have in here more than I do pencils, so I opened that up just like he did. So let's open this up. I guess it'd be easier if I take the inside out first. Has a nice Velcro strap here that isn't easy to pop up. Now, STIXSURVIVAL did a band around his. If I ever see something like that, that might be interesting to get. But this Velcro is very stiff. I mean, it's not going to just pop open, and if it does, you'll know it. There we go. Now, in the top, there's a zip pouch. There's also Velcro here, so you can put patches or whatever you want on there. But in this outside pouch, I have a small tool, pocket tool. It's screwdrivers, pliers, the whole bit. This thing comes in handy at times. One of the small knives. You can never have too many knives. I mean, it's not big, but it can come in handy. The old P38. You never know when you might come across a stash of canned food somewhere. And wouldn't it be a bitch not to have something to open it with? Some safety pins. I mean, these things come in handy. Holding up your pants, putting a shirt together, using as fishing hooks if you wanted. Another one of those. And a whistle. If I don't already have a whistle on, this would be a spare whistle. It's a P-less whistle. Very cheap, but very loud. Whoa, shouldn't have done that. Oh, one of the things I should have covered too before. This will be on my belt, but I also carry some other stuff normally on my belt. One being my blast match. I almost always have that on. My Leatherman. This thing I've had for a decade or more. Nice little tool. And my current knife that I carry, I think I've showed you this before. It's a Boker Magnum. Nice knife, very sharp, handy. Anyway, these three things I almost always carry on my belt, but I have redundancy built in here. So that takes care of that first pouch. There's a pouch in the front. I have coffee filter bags to filter water, just to filter out the big things, bugs, sticks, stuff like that. It doesn't purify it. It just takes out the big chunks. This is also a work in progress. I'll probably be changing some of this. Now, I don't worry too much about food, but I did carry some apple cider drink. This really picks up the spirits if you need to. A very elementary, sorry about the shine there, very elementary first aid kit, couple of Band-Aids, sterile cleaners, burn ointment, and just a couple of little things. If I have anything serious happen, I have some other stuff in here that I could use for fixing me up. This isn't really survival stuff. It's teeth cleaners, little things you put on your finger and just clean your teeth. When you're out there, this really picks up the spirits. And that's all I have in that pouch. On this side pouch, I have another knife, larger one. Kind of a throwaway knife, but handy to have. I mean, it's not an expensive knife, but it's not a piece of junk. It's handy for using, but everything that's in here I don't use or play with. It just stays in there. So you don't want to take your best knife and stick it away, but you want a knife, you want equipment that's good to use. One of the more important things, this is a toilet paper roll from an old sea ration. I've been carrying this thing around for 20 years, or no, since I got out of the service, so it's over 20 years. But I've been carrying this thing, just putting it in new packs. Anyway, it's important stuff. You can use this for what it's made for toilet paper. You can use it for starting fires. You can use it for blowing your nose. Just kind of a good luck charm anymore. And then also down here I have a knife sharpener. Just a little knife sharpener to keep your knife sharp. That's all that's in that pouch. And also this has a Velcro strap that's very strong. On this side, the pouch that I opened up, I have a reciprocating saw blade. I like to take these with me for cutting whatever wood I need. Now with this, it doesn't have a handle, but I can take this and cut a branch and trim it down and then attach it onto this with a couple of wire wraps and stuff, and it becomes a larger saw. Works nice. Just has a little protective cage on the outside. Also in here, tucked down underneath this strap, is another fire steel with a striker. That way, in case I lose my blast match or don't have it with me, this is one source of fire starting that I can do. Okay, then we get into the inside pouch. Has a nice little storm cover on it. I don't know if this is necessarily waterproof, but it's water resistant. And the stuff that I have inside is in pouches and stuff to keep it safe. One of the first things here is on the, I forget what you call these things, the tightener. I have a small button flashlight so that I can see in this pouch. It's attached to the pouch so it doesn't get lost. I can see down in there, and it's one source of light that I have in here. I've had that for a while. I forget where I got it from. Open up the storm pouch. Nice little thing. Excuse me. On the top I have 3 packs of sugar, 2 packs of raw sugar, and 1 pack of regular granulated sugar. Now this would be a food source. This could be a first aid source. on large cuts, bleeding cuts. I've used this already for protecting cuts. Multi-purpose. Some wire wraps. I think there's another one in there. These things can be worth their weight in gold. These aren't the wire wraps that I said for using on the saw blade. I don't use these on this. I have some smaller ones in here yet. But a couple of these things don't weigh anything and they can come in real handy. And I've got a tin with its lid, several stuff in there. I'll show that to you. Couple of the cotton pads. Again, multi-purpose, either for first aid, fire starting. You can use it for toilet paper if you had to, but it's kind of overkill. But these things are very handy. You've seen these in my fire making kits. Here's the other wire wrap. Mylar blanket. I wish this was just a little bit bigger so I could put two of these in, but all I could fit was the one. This is shelter. It can be used as a raincoat if you didn't have a raincoat on. Used in cold weather to try to keep in your body heat. You've seen these on the internet, on YouTube. All kinds of people using these things. Must have at least one, two if you can have the room to put it in. Okay, smaller wire ties. These are the ones that I use on the saw and whatever other things I have to do. There's 4 of them. Okay, I don't know, you probably can't see it. But in the back on the inside, down here where my finger is, there's a small pouch, small flat pouch. And in there, I carry a plastic mirror. You know, look at your ugly mug. Use it for signaling. Now it doesn't have the hole, but I mean you can get around that with using your fingers. You've seen these in survival courses. Very lightweight, plastic. Don't have to worry about breaking it. Handy. 2 pieces of aluminum foil, 1 foot by 2 foot long, both of them. Talk about multi-purpose. You can use this for building a fire on if you're on wet ground or snow. You can make a tent out of this to start your fire in if it's raining. You can use it for cooking. You can use it for boiling water. Just real handy. I think maybe I should put another piece in here. I have a little bit more room. But aluminum foil, a must-have. And here was one more small wire tie. Here I have a spool of trot line, I think they call it, fishing line, the heavy duty stuff. I don't have enough room in here to actually put paracord or anything, but I mean this stuff, I use this stuff, it's strong. It's really strong. So I just spooled it onto a little plastic spool and stick them in there. Okay, in the bottom, unfortunately you can see my ham hocks just don't fit in here too well. Hard to get to the bottom. Okay, have a lawn bag, one of the large lawn bags. This can be a shelter, this can be a sleeping bag. I can stick dry leaves or pine needles or something in here to keep my lower part of my body warm and dry. You could cut this and make a small shelter out of it. I have duct tape in there and then the line. You could make an overhead shelter. Handy, very handy to have in there. For water, I don't want to unfold these. These are oven bags. They're marked for the level. I have water tablets in here. But these things are like, I don't know if they are Mylar or they're like Mylar. They're very handy to have. I can scoop up water in this or scoop it up in the can using the coffee filters to get out the big stuff. Then I have the water in here and I use tablets to purify it. To carry this around, I have one of these bags from the local bookstore. Has a handle on it. The oven bag is a little clunky for carrying around or whatever. So I put the water in this, but then put it inside this bag to use as a carrier. Has a little handle, you can string it up on a tree. It's easier to carry this bag inside this when you're carrying water. So these are on the bottom of that. Okay, now the other thing I have here is, this is a small soup can. I kept the lid with it using a side cutter so that it fits back on. Now I didn't seal this off yet because I was going to do this today, but I'm going to seal this with tape so that then this will be waterproof, watertight, especially since I have holes, which I'll explain that in just a minute. But anyway, there's a lid. In it I have a pouch of stuff. Can take that out. When I'm using the can, then I have this small pouch to hold this stuff. Can go back into the waste pack. In the can, I have a string of fishing line. Can use this, of course, for fishing. Can use it for tying. You can use it for sewing up clothes. Using this and duct tape, you could stitch up yourself if you had a large cut. Very handy stuff to have. I guess this multi-purpose, not porpoise, purpose, but handy to have. Okay, in the bottom of this, there we go, I have some wire. Not necessarily for snare wire. I don't know about snaring animals. Seems to me like a wasted effort. But whatever you like. What I have this for, this is wire that I can use on the can. I punched 2 holes in the can. Can you see it there? Yep. So I can take this wire and make a bail out of it so that I can hang it on some sort of a hook over a fire. This just gets wrapped up and put into the bottom of the can. So here you have a can. I can make that apple cider. I can boil water. If I found something that I wanted to make a tea out of, I could do that in here. So multi-purpose, cooking, water supply, whatever. Okay, in this little pouch, coming down to the end here, more fishing line. The fine fishing line, it says 6 pounds fishing line. Again, use it for sewing, use it for stitching yourself up, and some of the heavier trot line. Can use this for making shelters. Can use this for all kinds of stuff. A little treat. Pick up the spirits. Okay, now I had a flashlight on this, remember? And I also like carrying these flashlights. I mean, these things, if you like light, these things are handy as all get out. Not real strong, but they're real handy and you don't have to worry about the batteries. They're a cranking flashlight. You just crank them up. Now, unfortunately on this one, when you crank it, it lights up the LEDs. But it's got a battery in it, so you can use the light. You don't have to worry about batteries. What I do is just charge this up real good before I put it away, and this is good for about a year. So when you're out in the woods and it starts getting a little dim, you just crank it up. I guess the benefit here is while you're cranking it, you can also see what's going on. You can get these at Harbor Freight, places like that. Handy little flashlights. Not the strongest thing in the world. I mean, you're not going to shine it across the valley or whatever, but you're going to be able to see what you're doing in the dark. Okay. Another small knife. Like I said, you can never have too many knives. It's just what fit in there. A razor blade, clean razor blade. This comes in handy for fine cutting, like if you're doing a fish or something, where you need to cut something on you, you could sterilize this and use it to, now I'm not advocating this, but you could use this to pop a blister If you have a big wound with hanging skin, you can use it to cut it clean, as long as you sterilize this on a fire. Small lighter. This is a small Bic. Unfortunately, I didn't have the ones that you can see through to see the level of the fuel, but I like these. Now, one thing, when you put something like this into a kit, you have to make sure that you can't push this button down by mistake. So what I do is I put a wire wrap around it underneath that lever. Now it can't be turned on because the wire wrap stops it. Oh, can you see that? A lot of people just stick these into their kit and don't worry about that, and then they wonder why the thing is empty. Because this thing will depress and then all your fuel will leak out. So this is a handy little fire starter, but you really need that to make sure that it doesn't leak. Some more line, a little bit finer, but there's about 50 feet of line here. Comes in handy. I'm a big line person. Magnifying glass for starting a fire. Four water purification tablets. Now the bag is marked, so I know how full to make it for these tablets, but these are handy. It saves you time over boiling. Duct tape. Just some duct tape wrapped around a cut credit card. This stuff can be worth its weight in gold. Talk about multi-purpose. Use this for bandages. Use this for shelter making. Use this to fix your shoe. Use this to fix you, like I said. If you've got a big gash, you can use this to stitch yourself up with. Got to carry duct tape. Color doesn't matter, but you got to carry duct tape. Another little piece of mirror to use for signaling. Again, there's no hole on it, so you use your, the 2-finger method to see where it's going and aim it. Couple of birthday candles for help to start fires. Your little fire pit, whatever. Carry a couple of those. They just fit in there, so they're good. A small fishing kit to use with the fishing line. Some shot weights. A couple of hooks on leaders. And some bait in there, some artificial bait. Hopefully that's still good. Had that for about a year now. Might be time to change it. But a little fishing kit. Like I said, around here we have lots of streams and creeks. So trout is something that's fairly easy to come by. If you don't have a license, you only do fishing if it's an emergency type thing. That'll make you get found real easy with the Game Commission come around if you do fishing illegally. This is a pencil lead container that has needles in it. Sewing needles and stuff. A couple of them in there. This fell to the bottom. A little button compass. Should always have a compass that you trust. Now some people carry 2 or 3 compasses. I usually have a compass in my pocket, so I could use these two to compare against each other if I get any doubt of which way it's pointing. Couple of nails. Nails can be real handy. Shelter making, fish spears, all kinds of stuff. So I carry at least 4 nails with me. I think these are 16 penny if I remember. Another little fire kit. This is cotton pads with a refilled chapstick tube. I have Vaseline jelly in there. This comes in handy for lots of things. For starting a fire, just spread it on the pad. Use it for chapstick on your lips. If you scratch your boot or something, you can use this on your boot to try to waterproof it again. Right on the cut, or right on the scratch rather. Handy stuff. You just tell people don't throw away your tubes, and you can refill it with Vaseline petroleum jelly. I should say petroleum jelly, not necessarily Vaseline, but petroleum jelly. And then this is the cotton pads, just like the other one that I had. Only a couple more, because these can come in handy. I don't like to, as you saw in maybe my old videos with the cotton balls, I don't like to pre-smear them with petroleum jelly. This way, I can use these cotton pads for fire starters just by putting the petroleum jelly on it. Or I could use them, again, like I said, first aid, use it for toilet paper, use it for all kinds of stuff by not pre-smearing it. Okay, and so that's all the stuff I have in this Maxpedition. It's the Maxpedition H1. I'll leave a link down below to where you can go and see these. I bought this one on eBay, but this is what I'm going to carry this summer now. So even though I do wish this was just a little bit bigger so I could put another Mylar blanket in there, all this stuff fit into that pouch. So that's what I'm doing. I thank you for watching. I look forward to your input on this, questions, remarks, helpful suggestions. If you think there's something in here that I missed, something that you like carrying, I'd like to hear about that. And as always, watch for my buddy Max. Bye now.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and